It's Proverbs chapter 10, verse 1, talking about parenting. It's saying that the work that we do with our children can either make us, glad or sorrowful. The result that we get from our children can either make us glad or sorrowful. What we do with our children, will can either make us glad or sorrowful. While we're parenting, yes, it's our choice, but the result, the consequence of our parenting, is based on what we did when we had the opportunity to do the input and when we had the opportunity to do the sowing. Yeah, the time of sowing, yes, it's our responsibility, but the harvest is a consequence. Jim Rohn would say that whatsoever your harvest is, you should take it with maturity because you are the one that caused it. It's not nature, it's not incident of life. It's a result of telling you or giving you a reflection, of what you did when you had the opportunity to make a difference. You created this person, that used to be a child, is now a man, is now a woman. This is the work of your hands. This is the result of your input into the physicality of that child, your input into the psychology of that child, your input into the spirituality of that child. It's a result. The result might not be all lost because it's still alive, and you can do, all you could do, but you've lost the opportunity to get the best result out of it. It's just like in my workplace when we talk about planning and execution, the time you plan is we call it front end loading. It's when you can get the best, effect on the output. Yes, you might still be able to do some adjustments in execution, but you have lost the opportunity once you start executing because the best you can get there is determined by the front end loading, what you did, at the early stages, right? And we've talked about here relating parenting to the continuum of life. The continuum of life talks about, from birth to when we leave the scene, and it's divided into three parts. At first we come here independent. We can't do anything on our own. We can't do anything on our own. But once that child is born, that child begins to reduce in from 100% dependency into a place of independence, and that continues to reduce and increase. Dependency is reducing, independence is increasing. That's a normal growth path, unto the place when the child comes into the place where the child is fully independent, as against when the child was dependent, and that's a second stage, of the continuum of life. But then there's a choice to be made at that independent state, because if you're just alone, there's only so much you can do on your own. You need others to complete you. You need others to increase your output. What you can do can go, can increase astronomically depending on how you engage with other people. And that's the third stage of our lives. What we call we have interdependent relationship. We release some of our independency, to allow others input into our life so that we can become better. We can have an explosive result, in our lives. And parenting is involved in all of this area. Albeit it's not parenting to all through the area. The first phase, is parenting. The second place is coaching, and the last phase is mentoring.